Write like a man. Use a typewriter.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting in Revelation 6 is you get wormwood. And there's so many different theories about there. But again, if we sort of understand what is being talked about from a Jewish perspective with wormwood, that word comes up in the Old Testament. Really? And wormwood was like a poison like hemlock or a derivative of hemlock, a poison. So there's a star that is a poison thing, if you understand that from an Old Testament perspective. And so you're talking about, is it like mass biological warfare? Yeah. Or is it something even more connected to what's going on in a country that we've been talking about? And there was a nuclear issue back in the 80s. There was Chernobyl. Yep. Right? And that could be disease. Now, most people don't know this, that in the language, not Russian, but in the country that it's in, where Chernobyl is located, that means wormwood.
No kidding.
So that could be like a foreshadow or a birth pang of what this wormwood's going to be. That in that war that's going to kill 25% of the people, is that the disease of wormwood that we're going to get with the destruction of nuclear plants?
You know,
nuclear bombs.
Thomas Horn from Skywatch has a book about wormwood. He has an alternative perspective on that. He thinks it's going to be an asteroid named Apophis, which is supposed to come around near Earth 2029, I think, something like that. It'll be at its closest point to Earth. It's projected to hopefully pass, Friday the 13th of April 2029. Apophis coming around. But he somehow links Apophis to wormwood through the etymology of the two words, which also could kill 25% or more of the population.
Well, Apophis would be more identified with the parent god of the underworld in Egyptian mythology, right? Okay, that's where that comes from. And I don't rule out the possibility of a planet or a large asteroid or something that's coming close. But the trouble is with that is that it has to be done just perfectly. Otherwise, it's a complete extinction event if it gets too close, right?
Yeah.
And we're only at 25%. So there needs to be a degree of accuracy in terms of how that's going to hit 25%. I mean, God would know if that's the case. The other thing is that's the same mythos that comes out of polytheism about Nibiru.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't heard of Nibiru. What's
Nibiru,
that?
10th planet?
It's the 12th or 13th planet or whatever the number that they use for it, that will be coming back in. That's the home of the Anunnaki.
Oh,
the alien mythos, right? So,
it's on some ancient. I can't remember if it must be Mesopotamian, some ancient star chart or cartography.
Yeah. So I don't rule it out, but I do think that polytheism has a different lens on some of the catastrophes that happens. But again, I also look for the catastrophes to be man-made or done as opposed to natural. Yeah. And so, but again, because we don't know, there's a lot of still obscurity, as best as we try and understand it, till we actually get closer to the events, we may not fully understand it. So we need to be open to that. But I would lean towards the understanding of the writers of the prophecy who were Jewish with John and trying to communicate it in English the best way he could. Just as with Armageddon for the location, we need to understand it as his instructions are, as it's understood in Hebrew, that we get transliterated into Greece, that gets transliterated into English, which is not the plain of Megiddo, and it's probably more Mount Hermon. I'm going to cover that off from connecting to some research that's been done on that to Mount Zion, which is the other word for Mount Hermon, and it's the counterfeit Zion that is going to be established in the end time.